Hey guys, this is Sierra, your host with Boss and Biz and Beauty Podcast. This podcast is for all the mom bosses, boss babes, entrepreneurs, and all of those creatives out there in the industry. Welcome back. If you are new here, you will love it here. I'm so excited to get into this episode, and I'm going to let Tyler take the floor.
Hey girl. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, absolutely. Like real quick, y'all. We were going with the shits over here, okay? It was a little, we're good, everyone's good, but yes, we're here. So Tyler and I had a quick little glam beat. Look at the beat. Look at this cutie.
Thank you, Sierra.
Yes. And so I was really glad that we did have that moment to just connect a little bit. We definitely have a lot of similarities that I really loved. And I think that was the main reason why I chose you as a selected interviewee, because I love your aesthetic. I love the way that you present yourself. And you're a mom as well, and it's like us moms got to stick together.
We
okay,
we need that community. We do.
So introduce yourself and let us know what you do, where you're coming from, what you've been doing.
Perfect. Well, my name is Tyler Nichols, as you mentioned before. I am a branding photographer. I also have a branding agency here in Houston, Texas. We focus on the aesthetic, our visuals for our brands. We also do brand strategy for women. We focus on our women.
Yes.
And it's just a beautiful space to work in. Being able to work with women all the time and working in a working within a creative industry is just fulfilling.
Yeah.
It definitely is. And I'm doing what I love, and as you can see, you're doing that as well. So.
No, absolutely. I think that was kind of what drawn me to reaching out. I think it was, I forget how I found you, how we were connecting, but it definitely probably was something that you had posted, and I went on your page and I was like, my OCD is just, it loves it here. Like everything had a place, you can tell that she took intentional time on when she presents. And I think that's what we are kind of missing in the industry sometimes. It's like, I think as a person as yourself has done some creative direction work, you also been doing some modeling. So you kind of have seen all angles,
For sure.
And I think that does make us, not only just better business people, but also being able to see all angles and know how things need to be placed and how they need to function for things to like run smoothly, right?
For sure.
Being a person that started in the fashion industry, doing fashion shows, it's chaotic. I love the chaoticness, the chaos, but we like a little organized chaos, make it make sense.
For sure. It has to be organized.
Yes. So where are you from?
I'm from California. And we have a lot of similarities as far as, starting within the fashion industry. I did model myself.
Yeah.
And this beautiful woman is a great model.
Yeah.
So I got into photography, starting off as a model and then going into styling.
Yeah.
And shortly into creative directing, which I adored.
Yeah.
Creating sets for mostly fashion brands. So that was really fun for me.
Yeah.
And doing that within retail, and moved here pretty randomly, just because, California's expensive. Moved down to Houston, Texas, and I love it here now. Getting my life together, starting all over again.
Yeah. I feel like, I feel like when it could feel obviously like you're starting over. And I like to kind of not necessarily correct, but just redirect that thought process that like we were doing something at one point, right? It's just we are relocating. We are having to kind of like get ourselves, networking, all those things to kind of get ourselves in business. But one thing's for sure is that business model is still kind of the same. You just have to work it a little different based off where you're at. So I do feel like it was a feeling, the same feeling I had, moving from Vegas and back home, because this is home for me. But it was one of those things like, well, I'm not necessarily starting over as far as like myself and my business. It's just more so like I'm in a new place and I just have to figure it out and go we just got to figure it out, y'all. That's all we try to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of networking that is happening and
Yes.
continues on until the end of time, because
Right.
Houston is such a beautiful place. There's so many beautiful artists.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's been great meeting all of the people that share the same mindset, and collaborating has been so much fun here.
It is, yes.
There's a lot of untapped markets, and that's where I'm inserting myself.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I love
going
that.
to
And
work.
you know, collaborations is a thing that I feel like I wish more people took advantage of. It's not always like, well, what can you do for me? You know, I think that's a lot of what you experience. I feel like in anywhere, it doesn't have to be where you're at. It's just there. And
For
I
sure.
think people just need to know that, like, when you work together, you get more out of it. It's just like, if you think about it, people have different ranges of ideas, like, you know, skill sets, roles, followers, you know, all of those things. And like, you have to realize that when you come together, more comes from out of that. And if not the original vision, it's going to exceed that, because you do have other like-minded people, which I think is important when it comes to working and collaborating with people, that you are intentional about that, because everyone's not has the same agenda. Everyone's not on the same playing field, and that's okay if they're not. You know, I think that's the beauty of it. You get to learn. You get to see your strengths and your weaknesses. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I love that. So with photography, is something that you're doing more of now these days?
For sure.
Yeah.
So I went full time with my company a year ago now. It's been 7 months.
Yeah.
So almost a year.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, pat on the back to me.
No, for real,
that,
girl.
Because taking
it's
that
like
leap, as you
good.
know, it can be a little scary.
It is. It can.
But I've been a photographer now for 6 years. And when I came to Houston, I went from fashion to bridal. And you know, I was working with brands for a really long time in Los Angeles, and just reintroduced myself to branding photography in a different way.
Yes.
Being able to work with female entrepreneurs within the fashion, wellness, and beauty industry.
Okay.
And it's refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the thing that you like the most about, like, what's your favorite type of project to do out of everything you just spoke about?
I would say, first of all, the client has to fully trust the vision that I present.
That's important.
That's what I love the most, when a client's just like, you know what, I trust you.
Yeah.
You know, I prefer this over here, and, you know, give me some ideas. But just fully trust my vision. That's when things come together effortlessly.
Yes.
The collaboration as well is always great. I can't really subject it to one or two.
And I mean, I love that. I feel like I'm
period.
literally the same way when people ask, like, what do I prefer, hair and makeup? I'm like, I love them both equally. Like,
I can
go
down the list.
Yeah. So I mean, it's good. Like, I think it's good to kind of love everything equally, right? I think when you do wear many hats, and like I said, you do work so many angles. I mean, that's the beauty of creative direction. Like, you are kind of like in the thick of it. You know, right? You're there. You're seeing certain, you know, angles. You're seeing certain people and different personalities as well.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important too when you're working with people and creating a vision with people. Getting to know the person is kind of important, right? And so I think that's where it's like, when you want to gravitate towards those ideal clients, not saying they need to be like you or like-minded, but they just need to be able to, like you said, trust you and be able to let you do your thing.
So the biggest thing within branding, especially with building a strategy with a client, like you said, is understanding who they are, who they want to be, how they want to present themselves.
Correct.
And that is the largest part of what I do, whether that is photography or building a whole strategy for this company.
Right.
So I really like to get to the nitty gritty of who a person is within their company, whether it is a self-brand, personal brand,
right,
or if they are promoting a product or service, and learning the aesthetic. It's like, people don't truly put enough value behind their aesthetic.
Yeah.
And that's what we do in our branding consultations, is sitting down and truly figuring out, like, this is not just the colors that you're interested in, but if we were to put on a mood board who you are and what your brand is, what does that look like? And we sit there for hours. I sit there with branding consultations for 4 hours.
Yeah.
On a regular to get everything
4
together.
hours? Girl, for real? 4 hours?
4 hours,
wow.
for sure. So we get into how you're connecting with your audience.
Yeah.
That is so important.
Is
you know, offline and online.
Yes.
We tackle social media. We get together strategy, starting from your logo to colors, aesthetic. We go into who your audience is,
right,
and so much more.
Right,
is both of our phones.
I know.
I was feeling so bad about mine, but there's a lot to cover.
Yeah,
going into a brand and developing it.
Yeah, which it is, because I mean, I feel like I can sit down and talk about branding and all of that good stuff too. Like, it's not something I promote, but I do some mentorship that is pretty similar to what you do. Mm-hmm. You know, I audit people's profiles. I feel like I do give people good ideas when it comes to like how they can be more personal with their brand, because a lot of the times, a lot of people are so businessy, and it's like people need to connect with you. People need to know, what do you do outside of this? I think when you're selling something, it is, yes, they are seeing that product or that service, but it's like, what's going to set you apart from the next person is yourself, your personality, what, you know, your interests. All those things matter. People have told me many times, I was between this artist and this artist, and you know what chose me to choose you? Your vibe. You know, you'd be so surprised that like by people, like from people seeing like what you're doing outside of the business side is potentially the thing that's going to keep you booked or not booked.
Exactly. They found depth within who you are.
Correct.
That matters so much.
Yeah, you have to think of yourself as a salesperson. You are a walking advertisement.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. So, dang, 4-hour consultation. I love that. Girl. Y'all better come with that money, because 4 hours of a mom boss's time is very valuable. Oh, so with you know, what's been the most interesting experience with your move, for one, because I know you said that you moved from LA to Houston. What was like the thing that kind of like made you kind of, you know, come here? Like, what's that?
What made me come here, first of all, was the economy. Being able to live by myself, not have a roommate, and afford it.
Right.
Second was, I'm a little impulsive at times. And I was just getting tired of being in California, even though I love California so much.
Yeah.
I would go back. I would. But I needed some new scenery. I needed to network with different people. I just wanted something different for myself. Right. And, you know, during that point, before I left, I felt like I was in a rut.
Right.
And this was my first time moving out of state.
Okay.
So I was like, why not? Yeah. Let's try it out. And see how it goes. And I moved down here. I met my love.
Aww.
I just settled completely. I had my daughter.
Yeah, and I think that's beautiful. You know, we do hold ourselves back when we're comfortable, right? It's like when we're in a season where it's like, okay, I want something different. Sometimes it is that like leap of faith that like, okay, like I don't know where this is going to go, but at least I can say I tried.
Exactly.
And I think that's important.
You don't know until you know.
Yeah, you don't. You don't know until you do it, and you don't know until you try it.
For sure.
And I think that's just in business, you know, like until you get that secret sauce, that secret ingredient that works, you know, it really is finding that sweet medium, that happy medium between like, okay, what do I need to do to accomplish this? Or what do I need to do for myself to be able to feel like I got this? And you really have to do a lot of trial and error.
For sure.
And really putting yourself in places and spaces where you are not only learning, but you're able to learn more about yourself and put that into your business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I think I've grown so much with being a business woman, being an entrepreneur. I've grown personally. I'm an introvert at times,
Okay.
and have put in myself in rooms by myself,
Right.
where I would have never done that before. And I think, especially with the people out here, everyone that I've met so far have been really warm.
Yeah.
There's a charm
Yeah.
to Houston that I really appreciate.
Girl, it's that Southern hospitality. It's real out here.
It is. It is. And people can tell that I'm not from here at times, and that's what sparks conversations.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really just love networking at this point.
That's good. I feel like networking does play a big part, not only just growing, but just like you said, just getting in those rooms and just seeing what's out there, who's out there. The fact that I'm meeting her for the first time, and it's like the immediate time, like, you know, I'm doing her makeup and we're just connecting on so much.
You're a vibe.
And I love that. And I think I said it to you then. I think that, like, when you are putting yourself in a certain space and you are wanting the things that you want, you do attract those, you know, that are your tribe, those people that your, you know, potential clients. And I think it does start with knowing who you are, where you're going, and what you're trying to do. It's simple as that. It's not as simple, you know, the work still needs to be worked, but it's like, if you can get those 3 steps in, I feel like it's not going to be a thing where you're having to always get out there and, you know, seeking, or like, you know, you're not being forced. I guess that's more the word
sure.
I'm looking for.
When you're doing everything out of intention, love that word.
Yeah, I do too.
When you're doing everything out of intention, then you're just attracting what it is that you're focusing on.
Right, correct.
That's why I love to be positive. That's why I love to surround myself with people that inspire me.
Yes, that's
people
important.
who are like-minded as well. Also, people that are not.
Yeah.
You know, we
it
don't like
reminds
to
you.
say that. Yeah, we don't like to say that at times, but it does us good.
Yeah, it does.
Expands our minds, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You can only benefit.
That is good. And so I know it sounds like you definitely have worked different things, but also different hats within the same kind of field.
Yes.
So with all of those things, what is a couple of things that you can share that you like to do when you're not working? Because I feel like as entrepreneurs, it is really hard. We don't have off days.
What's free time?
Girl.
I'm working on my free time.
We have to make it. So it's just like, that was something that I had to experience and learn that, hey, you're your own boss. Yes, you have your own schedule, but you also have to plan your own off days. So what do your off days look like for you?
To be honest, my off days look like I'm working.
Yeah.
I'm spending time with my family. Personal time is very important to me.
Yeah.
So whether I'm working or not, I will be around my family no matter what.
Yeah.
Whether that's taking my daughter on set, whether that's just being at home and working instead of going to the office.
Yeah.
That's just what it's going to have to look like. You know what I mean? And especially with working on the weekends.
Oh yeah, because for weddings and all that. Yeah, buddy.
Weddings,
we know. I know.
Those
and I'm the person that they see before all of that. So but that's good. I feel like we definitely have similar off days for sure. Self-care is a thing that I do take a lot of pride in. So my off days for me, when I can actually have an actual off day, because you know, like you said, you're off, but you're not off. You are still kind of working, whether it's like admin on the computer, editing, things like that, but you're not having to physically work. And I think that's something I like to ask other entrepreneurs to just, you know, see what they like to do on their time off. But I feel like everybody's been giving the same answer. Like,
so if I was to build my most ideal in the perfect life, off day, I would still create.
Yeah.
I would still be creating.
Same.
Working on my portfolio it's fun to me.
Yeah.
I'm getting out the vision that is intended.
Yes.
To be reached.
Yes.
And also art. I love to paint. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. Girl. I love to paint. Get me on a paint date and I'm happy.
Yeah, I love that.
Pottery, I did that recently.
Oh, I've been wanting to do that for
my heart
so
melted.
long. I feel
so
like
happy.
that is something I feel like it is something with working with your hands, right? And I'm like, dang, because that's literally something I've been wanting to do. Like, it's just something, just looking at it just looks therapeutic. I'm just like, I could just imagine like being there and doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay, girl, I'm gonna have to
Pottery
get
date.
the link for that. Yeah, so I do like, and you did mention something about like you enjoy creating. I also feel like I share that same thing when it comes to creating as well. I love the content creation part, so I love being able to. I'm a very visionary type of person, so like I can see things without it visually being there, but I can create it in my head and like, you know, plan it out, right? Or create it. And I think that's a beautiful space to be in when you love the creation part of it. Even when you're tired, it's like, well, I enjoy doing this part. I mean, of course it's work, you know, of course we have our busy days, our busy weekends, but those are moments where it's like that's where a true creator is just they're just gonna do what they do, okay? And when we're not doing it, we're sick, y'all. And we need vision, we need people, we need community, we need all those things, because
Absolutely.
I think that is important for us to be able to get those ideas out.
And it's like, if I'm not creating, it's
Girl, I know we'd be
you
sick.
know what I mean? Because when I wasn't doing photography, I was making jewelry. If I'm not making jewelry, I'm sewing. You know what I mean? Okay.
Hold on, let me find out I found a soul
Let
sister.
me find out. I'm gonna pull up my work on my phone a little bit and show you. But yeah, I just love, like you said, working with my hands. I didn't notice working with my hands is something that I love to do. Knitting.
It's a very spiritual thing. Like creating with these and having the blessing of being able to have hands to do. I just like, we try moving around in the world with no hands, y'all. Let me know how that goes. But I love that. So jewelry is a passion that you kind of had. And
absolutely.
Awesome.
So I have a jewelry line. I have just a fashion line.
Yes.
And you know, that's a venture.
Yeah, I love that.
Later down the road.
I do think that, you know, when you started, because you said that you started kind of in the fashion world and modeling and all those types of things. So I do think, like, you know, where we are placing ourselves, you know, does inspire us, like she said. And I think for me, when I was in that same kind of realm of making jewelry, I think it was just the point of getting just ideas together and just creating something. A lot of trial and error, I'm sure, that you had to go through on, you know, getting the string right and all of that and the tightness. And so I think that's the same thing for what you're doing now with your business. Like when it comes to branding, when you have these clients that are coming to you for your expertise, and it's like, well, the work is right here. This is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do for you. And so what do you do when you have a client who is not as trusting, but then you get to provide the service and then getting that reaction of that final product?
It's my favorite to see when a client finally sees the vision,
right?
Because I see it from the get-go,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yes.
From the mood board, I see the direction that I'm going into, and I deal with this a lot.
I'm sure that's why I'm asking.
Especially within personal photography, when I'm working with families and bridal. So I see a vision, I create a mood board and try to be as specific as possible with letting people know what inspiration I'm taking from different pictures.
Gotcha.
Because things can be perceived differently with
this is true.
each we can be told the same thing and hear it differently. You know what I mean? So I have to be just extra careful and intentional with what my vision is, what their vision is as well, and how I'm perceiving it. Make sure that what they're saying, as far as the aesthetic of things and how they're explaining their vision, aligns exactly with how I'm perceiving it. And
And I call that like client lingo. It's just like, because how I explain something may not be the same way that the client, or like, you know, with hair and makeup, oh, I want a natural,
Exactly.
a beat, but it's
Means
like
so
my
many different
natural
things.
could be like a beat to you. So it's just like, let's talk about it more in depth. Like I'm a very thorough consultation type of person. Like I need to know like, okay, colors, what are we doing this and that? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, I think that's important when it comes to, especially for what you do, because it's like you are literally taking them but making like a whole picture out of that.
Oh, yes.
So they're like the center, and then everything else surrounds that.
You're creating a whole world
Right.
based off of an idea
Yes.
or ideas. And that's why it takes 4 hours for my branding consultations. You know,
I
we're
know
like
now.
getting into the nitty-gritty of everything.
I know now. That is, I mean, but that's good though, because that is, and I'm sure even if it's, I mean, even though it sounds like a lot of time, it is literally time that will go by, because it's like you're walking through, you know, getting to know them. You're talking about the business. You're talking about maybe different experiences that, you know, may have worked or maybe didn't work. And so I think all of those are like good pieces to know, so that you know how to move forward and make sure that they're feeling comfortable.
And you know what? It's been trial and error with me, but with offering these branding consultations, when I was doing it predominantly online, having a video chat, of course they weren't 4 hours.
Right.
Like, who's going to sit there for 4 hours looking at a screen? No.
Right.
No. I don't want to do that.
No.
But I then started offering them only one-on-one in person, and that's when the most work is done.
Right.
That's
That makes
when
sense.
I feel at the end of our session, people truly appreciate what it is that we've covered. They feel like they've been, there's like a sense of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like you're giving them that spark.
Yes, there's a spark. They finally been seen that we're creating.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, I'm looking for the word and it's just not coming to me.
Yeah, no, I know. I feel like I'm feeling what you're saying, just because
We've
I know that
discovered their brand, and more has been unfolded.
I think it's just kind of like you're kind of just giving them an eye opener. You know, it's just like, okay, this is what I see. This is what I feel like I see you doing. But then it kind of goes back to the client, right? They have to believe it in themselves. So it's just like you're kind of giving them that confidence that like, hey, like this is what I see for you. And I feel like I'm sure that's a discussion that you guys have to have, like whether or not that's something that they would want to do. But then it still is like, we don't always feel, or it's not going to always be comfortable. Sometimes we do have to get out our comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to branding. Like, you know, I'm sure you have clients that are scared to, you know, show their face online, but that's important. So there are a lot of, I think, things, a lot of emotions for you, I'm sure too, when it comes to what you do. And what would you say like your most challenging thing with what you do is a often thing that you've noticed?
Most challenging thing
just
within business? The most challenging would be in photo shoots. Let me talk to y'all real quick.
Let me get closer.
So I have noticed insecurities.
Yes.
And they speak so loudly. During a photo shoot, my main goal as a photographer is to be your hype woman.
Yes, I love that.
So no matter whether you know that you're insecure or you don't.
Yeah.
We are going to get through it, okay? I will not let that show on camera because it does.
Right, yes.
When you don't feel secure, it will show completely.
Easily. Yeah.
And that has been a challenge with just dealing with the concept that there are so many insecurities within most of the women that I work with, myself included, of course. And just that's also the beauty of it.
Yeah. So
That's
pretty
also the
much
beauty
like
of
getting
bringing
people
out-
to see themselves.
See yourselves, the confidence, and stop doubting yourself.
Yeah, girl, that was me though, because
We can all relate.
I literally I didn't start modeling until August, like this past August. So I'm still pretty fresh, but of course, working all angles. I've seen what to do, but you know, getting in there and being in front of the lens and behind the lens was a little like, eh. But I feel like it's been such a beautiful journey. Like I feel like once I got out there and you start to get comfortable with yourself, right? Like, you know, learning your angles, knowing the poses, getting that muscle memory down. It really just is about working that muscle, you guys. Like it's going to start off, you know, very uneasy, but I feel like consistency, having someone to support you, having someone that's, you know, taking care of your vision and your baby, like it's their own, but like elevating it, you just have to trust the people to do their jobs, guys. Okay, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna do this together.
For sure. And can we talk about posing really quickly?
Yes, please.
So with being a model, I have an understanding of what looks good, how awkward posing can feel as well.
And I'm glad you said feel.
I will put people into poses and they're just like, I'm like, okay, well, let me show you in the mirror what you look like. And then they like settle into it. And I'm like, yeah, you look good, girl.
Yeah.
You know what
I feel like that's me. I'm the model that has the mirror like chasing after her, y'all. Like I really do. I'm like, okay.
It brings the confidence.
It does. But then I feel like until you get comfortable, right, you're just really just getting, you're just really getting that, like I said, muscle memory down. So it is a thing, because I do feel like in the beginning, my photographer, who I was doing a lot of work, actually is the one who got me into modeling. He is a posing coach. So he was really like not only just a newly photographer, but he knew how to pose as well. So I really love that aspect, that I could get into something new, but also be able to learn. And I honestly, I had that same experience where I was like, this feels awkward as hell.
You're like, okay, hand up here. Okay.
Like
but then you get used to it. Then you're like,
come on. Yes. Hey, take notes, okay? Take those notes. I love
a guide
that.
coming soon.
No. So I think with so are there anything with as far as like your businesses that you're excited for 2025?
Oh, I'm so excited for so much.
Yay.
So much. So it's been a lot of building, especially within the branding field for me. I've been doing my personal photography since I have been here. It's been 3 years. So that's been great. Told you that I went full time almost a year ago with that. And with my branding, it's only been 5 months or 6 months.
I love that. I do love that. So with the branding, all of that good stuff. So 5 months, that's wow. So you're like kind of still fresh, but you look, girl, you don't look like you 5 months in.
No, it feels great to be at this point because I've worked out the kinks. I feel like I've worked out the kinks. I am now building a team. So, you know, there's a learning curve up until you're doing this for years and years and years, right?
Correct.
So I'm learning what it is my business is, what it looks like, and I truly have a understanding of my aesthetic as a brand, and getting into this branding photography and now developing into a branding agency has really forced me to be intentional with how I want things to look, how I want to present myself, how I want my tone, how I want to speak to my audience. And it's been a discovery of myself. Of course, my brands as well. And everything's coming together. So I'm really looking forward to all of my personal projects that I'm having coming out pretty soon, because I have been working on my website for a while now. My website has been a work in progress for like a year.
Really?
And
Okay.
have finally made the leap to work with someone to do it instead of doing it myself, because I changed my mind way too much.
Right.
And she's great.
I love that.
She's great. And we're just getting closer and closer to the vision, and it's fun. Also, I told you there's so much I'm looking forward to, right?
So I'm all ears.
We're getting into video this year. So I myself have been taking education courses and have been looking into some mentorships.
Yeah. Y'all hear that? Investing in herself.
Yes, always. Always. I'm always a student, forever a student.
Yes.
And for a really long time, I was working within a very limited space within my photography, working with natural light.
Gotcha.
And natural light's amazing. There's so much that you can do with it. But when I opened myself up to learning about lights, lighting is just everything.
It really is.
My work evolved.
It will make and break.
The quality of my work started showing up. I started experimenting with my editing, and now found where I'm comfortable within my branding my branding editing.
Gotcha.
Which is separate from personal aesthetic.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because my personal aesthetic's more flowy, it's golden hour. That's what everyone's really asking for. And then when I get into my branding, it's very editorial. You find those contrasting colors and
yeah, girl, y'all gotta go on her page and just tell me if you feel welcomed, you know, like it is. I like literally love it. And I feel like it's kind of funny because I kind of went back and forth with like having an aesthetic of my page to like just post the damn content, to, you know, that back and forth thing, because it's like, you know, consistency, right? And it's like you have to, you know, keep that aesthetic. But then I think what was happening for me was trying to keep the aesthetic and feeling like things had to be perfect to post it, right?
Okay.
So I think like that. What would you say to a client like that? Because that was me at one point. I'm like, dang, like I want to post this, but it's not really going with the flow right now. Like,
so my advice would be to really write down what it is that's important to you as far as the aesthetic, once you understand what that is and what it looks like. For me, I'm still messing with my page. I just deleted 4 posts on my Instagram just to fix the aesthetic of my page.
Right.
And what I'm coming to realize is that you just need to have a strategy down. Like my text was too big on my post because I do education. I do branding education as well.
Yeah.
I love to educate and get into the details of the basics, but also, you know, if you're a brand and you've been into this for years and years, what tips that you can implement.
Right.
So text was really bothering me because I need the pictures speak for themselves. They're fine. I can get the colors aligned in a way that I need to, because my branding main color is red, and I always have to implement it within my flow at some point.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let me add a red text, and I was like, that doesn't look good.
Just like,
so yeah. I haven't gotten it down, but I just figured out what it is the algorithm is going to be, like how I'm going to put things together, the order and how things are going to be posted, because I was just posting when things were ready and then throwing in a text post, educational post every once in a while, but it's being intentional with your posting.
Yeah. And I think that is the thing. I feel like now the way that my content is, which I'm actually kind of like been in a little mixture of things, which I've been kind of separating everything, going back to, you know, branding strategies. So I made a model page for modeling. I just made a podcast page for podcasting, because right now everything is just kind of mumble jumbled in there, which,
that's what mine was looking like for a
you
while.
know, which could be good for a person that just like, I want to see everything that she's doing. But then when you're trying, I have noticed when I made those separate pages, I took more intentional time on them because it was just for that.
Definitely.
You know, I didn't feel as limited with my modeling and what I posted for my modeling, because it's on my modeling page. So I can post what I want to post on there. Absolutely. You know, when you're kind of like juggling different businesses, hair and makeup, obviously people are here to see your hair and makeup. It's still good to see that you know, they are seeing other things that you do like to do. But then it's like for the clients that is coming to your page and not just a watcher or audience, it's like, okay, well, where's the hair and makeup at? Because all I see is podcasts, modeling. I see a couple sprinkles of the hair and makeup, but where you at?
Yeah, it definitely gets a little eclectic at times.
Yeah.
And you know what, starting my new page is what developed her brand aesthetic, which is my branding agency.
Right.
And looking at my page that had the boudoir, that had the bridal, the weddings, that had the family and the branding, I was like, okay, this is making my head hurt. So I can only imagine what my clients are, you know, are thinking. And making that page has really made me intentional with the time that I spend on each page, which is important, but also just separating, having a niche.
Yes.
And having different niches.
I mean, no, for sure. And I feel like that is a thing that I think I was having a hard time with, like, you know, because that was the thing, like, you know, what's your niche? Like, you know, what do you do? I'm like, I want to do everything.
Yeah, you don't want to limit yourself.
And I just, you know, I really hated that because I'm like, dang, like, I feel like I'm in a box and I'm not I'm a very out of the box person. Like, I feel like if it sounds good and looks good and everything is within my style and like something I would do, I'm going to go for it. You know, I don't want to limit myself because of, you know, whatever the case may be.
The creatives, we have to express ourselves.
Yeah, and I think that is literally, I mean, that's the name of my modeling page. So the art of Sierra, like, it's, I mean, there is modeling, but it's like the way that I see modeling is art. You know, what I'm wearing, how I'm posing, whether it's editorial, whether it's like, you know, something nice and sexy and sensual. Like, you know, I'm kind of a nudist at its finest, okay, y'all. I love being in my skin. I love like that, but I don't view, you know, the typical, you know, silhouette of a woman. Like, I do feel like our bodies is arts, you know, and I feel like we do kind of get sexed on when, you know, just with social media, how, you know, a person's undressed, it's like, it's distasteful or whatever. I think I have taken a different approach with it, where it's like, this is me, but it's tastefully done. Because we can tell when it's not tasteful.
No,
like,
absolutely. And I think it also matters with who's capturing it as well. I think that makes all the difference.
That is definitely important.
You can see the intention behind the camera, for sure.
Definitely.
For sure. And, you know, with modeling, especially in the early days, girl, I put myself in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
And I would like to touch base on this with being a new model. And the reason why I love working with women, and I hate to just leave out men, but I have had bad experiences working with men in some instances.
Right.
And not all, please don't get me twisted. Okay? Like, I love my male photographers, but I had put myself in situations where I was like, you know what? I truly didn't feel super comfortable at the end of that.
Right.
And I got the pictures back and I was like, okay, I felt like I was posing artistic, but this looks like a little trashy.
Right.
So,
and then, like, was that like, when in that particular thing, was it something that they were directing you to do, or how?
It was a collaboration.
Okay.
It was definitely a collaboration. There's one in particular where I was like, I had clothes on, like I was fully dressed.
Right.
It was just the posing and the angle in which he was capturing things.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, I feel exposed.
Right. And I feel like that's important. I feel like for photography, like as photographers, even as a hair and makeup artist, like it is important for us to set the tone for our clients. Like you said, like when you're uncomfortable or something's coming up, like it is one of those things where if you're not setting the tone, it's going to show on camera.
For sure.
And obviously, like with me just kind of starting modeling, it has been good experiences so far. But then I feel like because I've worked in the field, I know what those type of people look like, what they sound like. And I just, you know, it just goes back to intention. Sure. Absolutely.
And this is dating back to 2013.
Oh, okay.
2013, when you remember when Calvin Klein
Oh,
Those Calvin Klein shoots, everybody was doing them,
girl. Throwback.
Super throwback. I hope I can find a photo.
That is so funny.
Yeah, I've got to show you that.
So like with what would be like your biggest advice for someone that is in the field of wanting to pursue what it is that you're doing in these times? Because I know that there's been time that you've built, things that you have learned, but what would be your advice for 2025 on doing what you're doing?
My advice would be to know exactly what you want. Reassess often.
Very. I was about to say that's a constant thing.
Absolutely. And it's the biggest thing with these consultations. It's like, okay, girl, this is your first one, but truly think about doing this pretty often, because I sit there with myself and my planner. I have about 3 notebooks,
girl,
planning things out.
Yes.
And with being an entrepreneur, your mind gets jumbled in your thousands of thoughts and directions of where you need to take your business.
Right.
And I'm victim of this as well. Like, we got to get it all together. We got to organize those thoughts. We got to organize all those creative. For sure.
That's
Putting it on paper is the most important thing for me. And just know what you want. Keep going for it. Don't be scared. I think it can be this quote can be taken one of two ways. So a lot of people say, do it scared, but just do it. And then others are like, no, plan it out and be more intentional with where you're taking things. Right. But I think when you're first starting out, I think it's important to just go ahead and get the ideas out there, trial and error, get it done. And then refine and figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
You can tell me what you think about that. But.
I feel like I am definitely one of those people that have to just do it and do it scared. And it was more so like that for me only because 2 things. ADHD plays a part where it's just like I get so into my head that if I'm just in my head, right? So I'm in my head, I'm knowing what I want, but I don't know how to prioritize to do it. And so it's just like I just have to move,
Prioritizing.
Yeah. So it's just like it's just like it's hard for me at times to prioritize all these different things that I have going on. So when I do sit down and I get that piece of paper or my notebook and I do write things down, it's not so much in my head that I'm seeing it on the paper. So when I see it on the paper, I'm like, oh, that's it. It sounded louder and a lot more going on in my head. Sure. So when I'm able to write it down, I think that's when the intent starts, because you're writing it down, you're breaking it down, you're visualizing it, and then you are able to plan and kind of move accordingly. If you're trying to move and it's just all in there, I mean, some people, hey, if you got it like that, more power to you. Girl, I don't function like that. I'm a little different. I'm definitely a little different. So I definitely do feel like now it is more one of those things is like plan it. I actually just came up with a whole scheduling kind of situation for how I'm going to go about content now so that I can be more consistent. Especially because I have 3 pages now to manage. It's just like in my head, I'm like, ooh, that sounds like a lot. But then it's like, you don't have to do everything every day, you guys. You just have to like plan for certain days, do things certain days. And then as, the little bit at a time, I like to use the term Kaizen. So it's a Japanese word that's just basically 1% every day is going to get you to your goal. It doesn't have to be so sporadic. It doesn't have to be this whole thing. Like, I feel like for a long time, I felt like I needed to do everything every day. And we can't, I mean, you can do that, but it's overwhelming, it's overstimulating, it's burnout.
And then you don't get to touch everything that you wanted to in that day. And then you feel sad about that.
Right. Because you're spreading yourself thin, Exactly. It's just like you're stretching yourself out. And it's like, I used to think for a long time that I was a person that can multitask, and I can, but for a very short window, yeah. Like, but by 4 hours, I need a nap. My brain is fried. I'm like, it's time to pick the kids up. I'm like, by 4 o'clock, I'm like, everybody going to sleep.
Or 4:30. Yeah. 4:30 is like when I have to reassess. Like,
yes, everybody's taking a nap. So it is really good that what you're doing. I actually, once I get all of my ducks in a row, I definitely will be reaching out, because I do feel like we have that same girl, I really just feel like I'm looking at myself
energy,
and that and I'm just like, it's so nice to feel that, like, dang, like somebody get, like, I literally was saying that whenever you were,
I feel seen,
like, you know, like literally I'm just like, oh, because, you know, the way that we can come off very like, oh my gosh, they're controlling, or, you know, it's like we're too much, right? But it's like, no, we care about the small things, and we nitpick the small things because the small things matter. Like, simple as that.
Matter, for sure.
Yeah. And so that was good. That's really good advice, though. Like, you know, just doing it scared, the quote of that, but then also too, like, planning and being intentional. And I think it is just based off, you know, a person's lifestyle, right? What works for them, because sometimes they maybe need to start off doing it scared just so they can get in that momentum. And then once they kind of like get the momentum going, then it's like, okay, let me sit down and plan. Because if you really think about it, once you start moving in a direction that you're doing, you're already, you know, you're in momentum, you're trial and erroring, hopefully. And then that's how you're knowing if something's working. So when you do get to the planning, you know what's already hasn't worked, and, you know, maybe some things that could work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a huge thing with building a team as well. It's just like being able to trial and error by yourself
yes,
is very important.
Absolutely.
Because you can't afford to be within that space when you are creating a team.
Right.
And that's what I'm learning right now. Yeah. I'm working with a team of 2 people at this point.
That's good.
And plan on building now. I'm looking at applications now, so I'm excited about that. But
y'all heard that?
It's just like, who am I as a leader?
Yeah.
And that's another aspect of finding myself.
Yeah. Question. So with you adding people to your team, was that hard for you, or were you able to be lucky and find just like good dope people, or was it like, dang, I have to go through a couple of people and they just didn't make the cut?
So yes, I did have to go through a couple people, and I'm still figuring things out right now. How to outsource, how to let go of control of certain aspects of things. You know, I told you that I am learning videography for myself, but I am outsourcing videographers for my work. Right. I mean, I can't have my hands on everything. I can have my hands in everything and, you know, be able to collaborate and access people to join the team of Her.Brand Aesthetic. But I need to stick to what I know. Yeah. Like, really master that.
Yes. I love that you said
and
that.
Let everyone else who's a master of all these other things, let them do what they
play their role. That is important.
Not overstep too much.
Right.
Be a good leader as to where I can tell you what direction we're heading in.
Right.
But motivating you to encourage you to do what it is that you do and have confidence in that.
Yes.
That's where I see myself within leadership for sure.
I love that. And I think for myself, right before I moved here, I was in that whole thing. Like, I was getting ready to hire a VA. I had a personal assistant that I was, you know, having come into the gigs. I literally, the whole team was getting ready to happen, and, you know, things happened, life happened, had to relocate, had to put my money where it needed to go. And so kind of getting that back up, now I am at a point where, hey, VAs, if y'all out here, y'all hearing me, please connect.
Why was I just about to do that too? I was like, look, I need interns.
Okay. Apprenticeship program coming
literally
soon.
Looking for,
Okay, y'all hear that, right? Okay, like
if you're into videography, photography, and want to learn.
Okay, yeah, y'all hear it. Y'all hear it.
We are
Y'all
here to
heard it
teach
here
you.
first.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
No, I love that, and I think definitely congratulations to like having people on your team that
Thank
is
you.
showing growth within what you're doing, because it does take a team to do anything out there. To
Oh
be
my
honest,
goodness.
like you
You
can
can only
only
do it
go so
yourself.
far.
You
You
can only do
really
it
can't, you guys. And
by yourself
when you make
for so
that
long.
point, that is a good thing. It's a good thing when you have to be like, dang, I need help. That's good. Like it's trust me, I get it. It's very overwhelming. And
For
it's
sure.
like, you've worked so hard to get to that point. And then when it is that time where you're needing to hire that team, it's like, it's your like little baby. You want to make sure that the same people or the people that you're bringing in are going to value you and your work just as much as you will,
Just
if
as
not
much
better.
as you. Yes.
And you have to trust that your people are going to show up, and that could be a hard thing too in the beginning, I'm sure. Like some people, they're like, okay, no, we're good, let's keep it moving, but others kind of need that, like, okay, like, because I'm not gonna lie, I could be a little controlling in the sense of, if it's not right, I'm gonna let you know it needs to be fixed. Like, so
I mean,
I'm
it's
gonna,
your company.
yeah, I'm gonna nitpick
Yeah.
a little bit, but we gonna get it right. We gonna
Yeah.
get it right. So I definitely loving all the things. I love that you're, it's sounding like you're investing into yourself. You are, growing within your business. You're still trying to figure out just a few things that are going to make you feel good as a business owner and your own person. And it definitely sounds like, you have a lot of, sounds like for sure you have a lot of good insights when it comes to the branding side of things as well. I would love to like pick your brain on just a couple of things and ideas that I've had that I'm just like, I just don't know anybody
Yes, please.
understand.
No, yes, please.
And I'm just
Let's do
like,
it.
this girl, I'm like literally like, because I'm literally looking at her like setting up the lights and, just being very, she's like, can you like sit here for a second? Can you? I'm like, yes. And I feel like that's me, like, because I'm always kind of playing that role of like making sure everything's good because presentation matters to me.
And if it's not, it's just going to bother me
Right,
in the bottom of my
yes.
gut.
It's
I'm
not
just
OCD.
like-
Are you OCD?
and I'm not even gonna lie, like we should have had another light here to get those shadows.
Oh yeah, she did say that. She's all like, this shadow.
I'm telling
That's like your
you,
shadow right
I just
there.
didn't want to take too much longer and get this thing started. So.
I love it. But it shows that you care. It's just like
do.
you're not just showing up and it just being
really
like
do.
whatever. It's just like you're not just showing up and you're just throwing some stuff together. Like I think everything has a place.
I'm
I think
truly
that's
invested.
literally what I think, and that's how I roll. And I love that. Like I love that there's someone that I know. Like, girl, take a look at this. You tell me, because I know you're gonna tell me the truth.
Yes.
We
Yes.
need more people like that.
Not a people pleaser
Yes.
at all, but I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
let
also
me
not
let me know.
rash,
Like
you
I feel
know,
like people in business need the criticism though too. It's
For
just
sure.
like, and you have to learn how to take it and not get so personal about it, because that's the only way you're gonna grow.
not taking things personally
Yes.
has been my mantra for the last 2 years.
Really?
And it's really helped me in my relationship. It's helped me just in all aspects.
Yeah.
I just had somebody flip me off for no reason yesterday.
Girl.
Or what I thought was no reason.
Right.
I'm just driving here. But
Girl, that Texas road
not
rage
taking
is-
it personally has really helped my peace.
Yeah, and I can see that being a thing because I think, dealing with my marriage, that was just something that I had to go through, is learning that it wasn't about me. It's about, it's just, you can't take it personally. Like some people are just going through what they're going through. But that is a good, because here on the podcast, we do have mindful conversations, and I feel like it's little things like not taking it personally, self-care, being mindful of, the people that you're around. I think these all play parts of us, which all will play parts of our business. And I think that is like, you made a point of, just being very intentional of who you have around you. Like we are the
Yes.
company that we keep, you guys. We really are. And I think that's something that I've understood, where it's like, okay, I'm not saying you're a bad person, but this isn't my thing, right?
We have the choice.
Yeah, correct.
We have the choice.
We do. And I feel like when people are going to do it, they will. Okay? Just That's a little gem for y'all. If people are gonna want to do it, they will.
People will show their ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they
and
definitely will.
When they do, just understand that's who they are.
Yep.
And take it as that. That's
believe it the first time.
I mean, leave it or take it.
Believe it the first time, you guys. Okay, so is there anything that you would like to touch on or you think that is important, whether it's for yourself and your business, you know, even just like your relocation here?
I would like to say I appreciate everyone who has supported me, that has networked with me and engages with me, whether that's social media or in person. I am at a point in my life, I'm turning 30 this year.
Okay.
And I'm just coming to realize that with moving out here, I haven't created as much of a community around me as I would like to. And yes, I have networked, am continuing to network, but I want a close circle of friends that I can rely on, who can rely on me. I'm new to this momming thing. I'm 2 years in. Yeah. And it's been a tough road. It's been tough. Yeah. And not a lot of people talk about it. I mean, you have to really dig deep into understanding someone to even touch base on the struggles that we go through.
For real.
As a businesswoman and as a mother. And that's what I would like to focus in on this year, especially. And I also want to take a moment to reach out to everyone who has been struggling mentally, emotionally, with what's happening in the world right now. As a Black woman, I feel under attack on a constant basis. And, you know, try not to take things personally, but it is personal.
Yeah, it is. It should be.
It is absolutely personal. Yeah. And now's the time to take a stand on what it is that you believe in, whether you are a person of color or you are not. Stand up for all of the things that you believe in. Also, do not push your beliefs on other people, or don't look at someone differently or less than because they differ from you in any way. Yeah. I just would like to take this time to give a virtual hug to anyone who's scrolling on social media and just like really struggling within that mental space and not having that peace when you are looking at your world. And that's not just here in the States, that's around the world.
Absolutely.
And I love you guys, and just keep trucking on.
I feel like I felt that. I'm like, come on, sis.
No,
the two snaps.
I was going through it myself, and that's why I had to take this moment to say something.
No, and I love that. I think I just not too long ago seen a little similarity to this on your story, and I was just like, you know, it really is a very interesting time that we're in. I think that, you know, it's already hard for us to get in these rooms and like succeed the way that, you know, we are deserving of. And I think that, like, you're right, like we do need to come together as just women, as people, and really support people where we can, because it's like we are living in a dog eat dog world, you guys. And I think the best thing that we can rely on is that really strong base foundational community of women, of just people supporting each other. Like, let's stop all of this, you know, competition over like community type of like vibe when it comes to things. Like, we all are trying to do the same things, even if it's different. And, you know, we're all people at the end of the day. Like, we're all human, and it's okay. Like, it's okay to want certain things and to want to share that, because I feel like that's what it's really all about. Like, being able to share things with people, educate, like whatever that looks for you. I think that's what I would like to do.
It's all connection.
Yeah, right? It really is. Like, connection is all I ever want. Like, I love it, and I appreciate that. Actually, like, that was a beautiful message.
Absolutely.
Well, where can we find you, and how can we get in contact with you?
So you can find me on my website, which is www.tmnphotoservices360.com. It's a long one, y'all. But once the website is like doing its thing, because I told you I'm still developing it, but I have a landing page there, and you can find me there all the time. You can also reach out to me on social media, whether that is Instagram, Facebook. I'm creating a Pinterest currently, and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So my Instagram is tmnphoto.co, and my branding agency is her.brandaesthetic.
Yay. Well, all this information will be down in the description. Definitely tune in with us. Hit that subscribe button. And also, as well, if you are here for the first time, definitely come back on the next episode, and we will see you there.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
It's been fun.